Hey guys, how's it going? Joe from Free Racing Tips here, and a brand new series launching today. This is the Road to Cheltenham Part 1. Now, you might think that the Cheltenham Festival is absolutely ages away, but in actual fact, it's not that far. It will come around pretty quickly. It's now less than 5 months. It's been over 6 months since the last Cheltenham Festival. So, if you know what I mean, we're closer to this one than we are further away. Than we are closer to the last one. Probably don't make sense that, but hey, it's not too far away really. We've still got the whole National Hunt season to go, and I know it can get a bit not tedious, but it can be a little bit annoying, shall I say, to have people talking about Cheltenham all the time. But it is the absolute pinnacle, and what I want us to do is go to Cheltenham this year with a really, really strong anti-post book going into the festival. And what I'm going to do is each week probably look at a different type of race, maybe a performance from a horse during the week that really impressed me, that you think could be a type of Cheltenham horse. Maybe guess which sort of race they're going to go to. Have a look at how trainers are going, which trainers are in good shape. We're going to try and get some special guests on during this series as well, and it is going to be a weekly thing right up until Cheltenham. So there's going to be a lot of episodes, hopefully, as I say, a strong anti-post book. What's going to happen is we're probably going to have a horse at 16 to 1 or something that looks absolutely great, and it might get withdrawn a week before the racing. That's the way it goes. Likewise, we could pick out a 33 to 1 shot that goes and wins at 10 to 1 on the day, and we've been real shrewdies. We could have one that drifts right out, runs well. Anything can happen. It's not going to be playing to big stakes, but this is all just a bit of fun. And as I say, Cheltenham is the absolute pinnacle of jumps racing, and it's the thing I get most excited about. So yeah, let's try and build a little bit of an anti-post profile, and let's just focus on all things Cheltenham. But as well, in this series we can look at other big races as well, and sort of maybe in then the lead to the Cheltenham Festival you might have, say, a horse that I think can happen sometimes is, take Thistlecrack the other day. If you wanted to back him for the Gold Cup, which I think you're probably a bit of a nutter to do at that kind of price, 4 to 1 or whatever he is now, I think that's way too short. But if you fancied him, if you thought, even before he jumped the fence, he's the one I want to back him at 6 to 1 before he goes and bolts up at 1 to 8 and then gets shortened. That's unfortunately the way that this game goes. A horse can win a race that it's meant to win by a long way, and they'll get shortened for their festival target. So sometimes you can take the risk that they won't, have any sort of mishap at sort of 1 to 8 on or something like that, and take that price before the race. Again, to smaller stakes, and if maybe he wins, gets shortened, and you weren't impressed by it, you're still in a better position to have the 6 to 1 about a 4 to 1 horse. You can even lay it off. But I digress slightly. What I'm going to do in this first week of the series is look very much at the champion hurdle picture, and this is pretty messy at the minute, as you'd expect. We're a long way to go. We haven't seen any of these horses this season, so to expect to have a strong fancy at this stage, yeah, you could probably argue against that. But I do think this is a market where you have to play a bit of an each way kind of bet at the minute, because I'll just go through the market at the minute. So you've got Annie Power 3 to 1, Forheen 3 to 1 in places, 7 to 4 in some. They don't really know what to do with these two. Of course, both trained by Willie Mullins, both owned by Rich Ritchie. The last two winners of the champion hurdle there. Annie Power, sensational last year. Will they both line up? No, they're not going to go against each other, because Ruby Walsh, I don't think, will have it. Who goes for what race? I'm not going to get into that debate at the minute, because, to be honest, you need both Annie Power and Forheen to turn up at Cheltenham 100% fit to even think about them clashing. Forheen missed the last Cheltenham. Annie Power has, always been touch and go whether she'll get to Cheltenham. You never come there 100% apart from last year maybe. So the fact that they'll both get there fit, I'm not sure. So you'd wipe those two out at the moment straight away until you've seen them and how they do. You've then got Altior in the betting, the Supreme Novice Hurdle winner. Almost certain to go chasing and go for the Arkle. Looks every bit a chaser, so should enjoy that. York Hill, another Mullins runner, and I think there's debate about where he goes, but I'd be surprised if chasing wasn't his bag. Vroom Vroom Mag, she's in there. She's just the super sub, isn't she? If she's basically there in case Annie Power and Faheen don't get there, but I'd expect to see her in something else, because you'd expect at least one of Annie Power and Fahine to get there. And then you've got the likes of Arctic Fire. I'm not sure how he's going to go. Bouvardier, another likely to go chasing. And then it's big prices about the rest. But there's one horse I've missed out there, currently 8-1, and that is Apple's Jade. And I think that's your each way bet at the minute. I think if Apple's Jade turns up, she'll be a shorter price than 8-1. And, you know, I'm not trying to say Gordon Elliott is a better trainer than Willie Mullins. No, not that at all. But I think he can make Apple's Jade a better horse, because he's not going to be worried about going up against Annie Power, about going up against Fahine, because Apple's Jade has switched from that Jigginstown move, taking all their horses out of Willie Mullins' yard. That now means that, of course, Gordon Elliott, it's no longer is Apple's Jade the stablemate of Fahine and Annie Power, and so she can really go up against them. And, you know, read what you like into sort of Triumph Hurdle form. She was second in Triumph Hurdle. I don't think she was quite right that day. They'd had a really poor preparation with her, but before that she'd beaten Jers Girl in really testing conditions at Leopardstown. That was an excellent performance. And then she absolutely bolted up in a Grade 1 at Aintree, beating Ivanovic Gorbatov, turning the tables on that Cheltenham form, beating him by 41 lengths in a Grade 1. Now, obviously, you can't take that form as completely. You can't take that form literally, if you know what I mean. Because if you say she won by 41 lengths, that would probably make her the greatest hurdler of all time. But what you can't do is you can't just completely discard that form. I don't think, and no chance can you do that. You know, she's not 41 lengths better than the rest of those. And she would need to improve, but she's not. I don't think she's your typical Triumph Hurdle horse, because those juveniles really do often struggle in their next season. But she's a horse that's had very little racing. She's not a horse that's come from the flat. I'd see no reason why she shouldn't train on, and her performance at Punchestown, where she won by 9 lengths after Aintree, confirmed that she was very much the best juvenile around. And I just think the 8-1 about her for the Champion Hurdle at the minute looks a little bit on the big side. Of course, we're going to have to wait and see how she performs, but she's another one. She could come out and win a couple of sort of mares 4-year-old races because she's 4 until January, of course. She could go and win a couple of them and then get cut a couple of points for winning at sort of 1 to 5 on or something like that, as long as she stands up and jumps some hurdles. And I think she's an excellent jumper of a hurdle. I think that Gordon Elliott, it's just about the perfect horse for him right now. I think he hasn't had a Champion Hurdle horse in his yard for a while, and I think that this horse is really, really classy. And being a filly as well, she's going to get, or a mare, she's going to get plenty of weight from the boys, like Annie Power did last year. And yeah, I just think that she could be the bet at the moment. Who knows when we'll see her next? I would imagine, like I said, it will be quite softly with her to start off with. I don't think they'll pitch her in any big races. I think she'll probably go to a little 4-year-old only mare's hurdle and go bolt up in that, win by half the track, and then she, you know, could be lined up for some of those big races around Christmas time. Cutting the ground, absolutely no problem. If anything, you could say she prefers that. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see what she does this season. Also, My Tent or Yours, you know, I'm not sure. Second in 2 Champion Hurdles, isn't he? And 33-1, if that's the route he's going to go down. Perhaps that's a little bit big, but certainly Apple's Jade, but a horse that I'm really, really excited about this season. Look, there's no prizes for, you know, being original there, but sometimes you don't have to be. Sometimes being original can be a well, you know, trying to look a little bit too far can be the worst thing to do. So yeah, I do think that Apple's Jade represents some Champion Hurdle value at the moment. Of course, plenty can change. She could look like she's not trained on at all and bomb out in her next couple of races. Who knows? But at this stage, she'd be worth a small each way bet. Let me know what you think in the comments below about what you think is a good Champion Hurdle bet at the minute. We'll sort of focus on each of the champion races for the first 4 weeks while the jump season really gets into gear, and then we can start looking at which horses have performed well in some of the bigger races, because we've got, you know, things like the Charlie Hall coming up this weekend. We've got the Open meeting at Cheltenham, which will be excellent. Yeah, so that should be really, really good. Looking forward to that. And that's where we can maybe, as I say, reflect on a few others and maybe find some horses that we think could be quite well handicapped and perhaps heading to something like that. But yeah, champion hurdle, that's the picture at the minute. It's a bit of a confusing picture, but Apple's Jade certainly interesting. Let us know your thoughts. Don't forget that this is a series we are going to be running right through the winter every week until those famous 4 days in March. So if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you do subscribe to the channel to get notifications there. And yeah, to all of our gold members that are watching in the group, make sure that you leave your comment with what you think. And yeah, I'll speak to you all soon. Thank you very much for watching. Speak to you all later. Bye bye.